Hello, glorious souls. Welcome to your Soul Service Astrology update for the week of the 13th of Feb 2023. Hi, I'm Kel. On this channel, you will find 13 signs sidereal astrology. This is astrology that generally, and I say generally because of course there's always some exceptions, but I don't want to take up the whole video with explaining the exceptions, generally matches what you can see in the sky. And I think that's really important. We need to be looking at our environment, and the sky is part of our environment. Connecting to it allows us to connect back in with our natural cycles. It allows us to get congruent with our natural cycles so that we can start to create and do and be parents and be career people, go to work, enjoy our lives within this congruent flow state with our natural cycles. And one way of coming back into your natural cycles is with astrology. You get better self-understanding, and then there's better self-acceptance when sinking into the way we like to flow within this life. And then, of course, that's greater self-love. And then your reality changes from that because you've changed. So that's the opportunity that astrology presents us. Now, as we move into this new week, the 13th of February, overall, there's a growing theme, and this is happening quite regularly year on year because we have quite a few planets in Pisces at the moment. So there seems to be this growing energy towards working on our mystical intelligence. Now, let me explain if you've never heard me talk about that before. Our mystical intelligence is a union. It is a dynamic cycling between our logical and analytical intelligence, our body's intelligence that we feel through emotions and our nervous system. Then there's the intelligence that our environment, the environments that we're in, is an intelligence, and it is going to influence us, and we can also influence our environment, of course. Then we have that non-local intuition, where you start to receive information through consciousness. Have I covered all of them? I've just got to double check, make sure I've covered all of them. And that's the really subtle intelligence, where you need to make sure that your body is really well looked after. You're keeping a check-in on your emotions and your nervous system. Because if you are in survival mode, something I've learned very recently, well, not recently, I've been cycling with it, but it's just sunk into my body even more now, is that if your nervous system is in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mode, it's going to be very hard for you to access non-local intuition. It's going to be very hard for you to trust your intuition because you're in survival mode. It's nearly impossible for us to strengthen our self-esteem or step into confidence if we're feeling like our survival needs are not met. So we must remember that if you are in survival mode, and it could very well be with the state of the world at the moment that you are in survival mode, what you need to tend to is your needs. That's what you need to tend to. Looking after yourself, making sure that your needs get met, and getting help and support so your needs can be met. Once that's done, then you can start looking at the opportunities to grow your self-esteem and your confidence. So this week is a little bit more, it's a little bit more gentle than last week. There was lots of changes last week. This week, we're starting to sink into some of the changes, but I would encourage you to lean back on your intuition and play with it. You are intuitive. Play with your intuition, feel into where your nervous system's at. Am I feeling good? I'm going to start relying on my nervous system more. That's strengthening your subtle intelligences. And that's what a mystic does. That's what that Pisces energy is really deepening into our subtle intelligences and privileging them as much as what we do our analytical intelligence. So what are some ways that we can do that? Of course, meditating. Meditating, like I said at the beginning, is really only going to work if you are not in survival mode. So calming the mind down, doing some practices to calm the nervous system down, getting outside is like, it's been demonstrated that exercising in the environment is better for our wellness than exercising inside. So get outside and exercise outside, and that will help you start to connect in, turn the mind off. So we're trying to turn the mind off, connecting with the body and listen with our body, essentially. And that's what you get to practice. We have Venus conjunct Neptune in Pisces this week. So they meet up every year, and they will for quite some time, because Neptune's going to be in Pisces for quite some time. And I really think it's an energy for our age. It's this continual cycle. We keep coming back to it every year. Okay, it's time to start embodying our intuition. It's time to really start noticing our nervous system. Where are we? Can we do some more things to help our nervous system be healthy? And then starting to grow our subtle intelligences, privileging them, this practice every year that we get to have for quite some time, because Neptune is going to be in Pisces for a long time now. So that's what's starting again this week. We still have the ongoing Pisces stellium from last week. So that's going to continue to grow, because, of course, more of the personal planets are going to end up in Pisces. The sun moves into Aquarius this week. So Aquarius season does start this week. So the sun is that creative energy. It's how we want to shine. And we get to be a little bit more inspirational now. We get to be more aspirational. We get to be maybe a little bit radical and rebellious with our creativity, with sharing our inspiration. I feel, as Saturn has moved into Aquarius, that there is a little bit of a lightness. You know, having Saturn in Capricorn, it was work. Like, I had my second Saturn opposition, and now it's coming to a close this month, my second Saturn opposition. And I can feel like I've done the work. I want you to celebrate. If you've done the work, if you know that you've made some significant changes, and maybe the way that your goal looked, maybe the way that creation looked, maybe the way the method looked, maybe the way your wisdom looked, maybe the way that your mastery looks different now, but it feels better, it feels more fun, it feels easier, feels lighter. Celebrate that, because that's going into that really Aquarius feeling. We're the leader now. With our wisdom, we get to be inspirational. We get to be a little bit rebellious with how we start to lead our communities. Can we come into our communities and start to bring them together? Now, there'll still be lessons there, because that's what Saturn always does in Aquarius. But as the sun now moves into Aquarius, we get to have, we get to have those perhaps little bit of irritating conversations with people that really stir people up, because we can't sit on a fence. If change needs to be made, we have to pick a side. And so you may have to really deeply express the changes that you want to see and be in the world. And that's probably going to irritate people, isn't it? Yes. All right. So that's Wednesday. Wednesday, we have Neptune conjunct Venus, and then we have the sun into Aquarius. And then on Thursday, I was just talking about Saturn and the sun are conjunct. So really all that energy that I just spoke about, it might be that you are expressing yourself in a really deep way, but it's different. It's the changes that you want to see. It's radical, because we need to be radical now. We need to pick sides so that we can start to make the changes that we want to see and be in the world. Now, this union will feel antagonistic between Saturn and the sun, the creator and our leader in Aquarius. It's calling for us to be out in the world. It's calling for us to share our visions. Why? It's not hide away. So if you've got something to say it, because if our technological age has not made it easy for us to say what it is that we want to say and express ourselves how we want to express ourselves, well, I really don't know what it was created for. So you have plenty of platforms, no hiding. And of course, use your subtle intelligences. Know that, okay, well, maybe in this environment, that's not the best community or environment for me to share that. Where are my people? Who do I want to be calling in? Now is the time to to be in with the people that you want to be in with, the communities you want to be in with, and working for a greater impact for the greater whole there. And then on Friday, we have the North Node square Mercury. So this is probably where subconscious stories, so Mercury's just moved into Capricorn, subconscious stories, so our mind stories, and it may actually be conscious, more conscious stories with Mercury, may limit us by going after our mission. So our mission is really backed by our vision. It's backed by our why. Why do we want to be focusing in on things we want to be focusing in on this lifetime? What are the changes we want to see and be in this world? How am I contributing to the greater whole? And our small mind, beautiful mind, but sometimes very small and narrow, may limit us with conscious stories of how don't go there because we haven't been there before. We don't know what it is. We don't know what's going to happen. So you're better off just staying here small and comfortable. But remember what I said with Saturn and the Sun merging in Aquarius. Now is not the time about comfort. Now is the time about leading the change that you wish to see and be in the world, privileging our subtle intelligences, sharing our visions, sharing our creativity. We've constructed this world to do that. It's not to remain silent. It's not to sit on fences. It's to agitate and irritate and to inspire the creation of our new world, because that's what we're doing with everything that you can see. So that is the energy for this week. Oh, and then on the weekend, there's no significant celestial aspects, but on the weekend, it's a balsamic moon right before the new moon next week. So that's always a great time. I find the balsamic moon, it's the mystic moon, to listen to your mystic. What is coming up for you? Like allowing yourself a bit of nebula space, allowing yourself to do some really mundane things, even allowing yourself to rest, not having anything analytical to do on the balsamic moon is always a good thing. All right, so that's the week of the 13th of Feb. Thanks for listening. My planner is, when you're listening to this, my planner may actually be in port in Sydney, which means if you go and support my Kickstarter before the 17th of February, you will get your planner shipped out to you, hopefully within 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how long it takes to get to me from the port. And I would be deeply, deeply appreciative for that. You are going to receive an awesome planner, but you're also going to be contributing to the project going forward, so I can do it again in 2024. I would like to have a lot more resources than I've had this last year to do it. And your pledge in the Kickstarter will help. So go and check that out at kellygunter.com, and I'll see you next week. Bye.